I'm finally getting some insight into this Prelude in G major of Chopin, which is such a challenging piece because of the jumps. The biggest challenge for me is the measures 7, 8, 9, and 10. The very beginning isn't a big deal because the fingering is very, you could say, pianistic. It fits the hand very nicely, and it's on white notes, you know. And it's a nice fingering because what I use is, I don't use what I see here in this music. I use 5, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 5. And if that goes on forever, you know, you have the piece is a piece of cake, but it doesn't go on forever. It starts going into some very difficult terrain, and that's starting in measure 7 and 8, 9, and 10. And that's because he goes to the secondary dominant where, you know, all of a sudden you have a black note in which you have to pass your thumb over into the black note like this. It's an A major configuration, which means it's a secondary dominant to the dominant of G major. The piece is in G major, and he's bringing it toward the dominant by way of its dominant, which is A major is the dominant of D major, which is dominant of G. So that's what's happening. So this is tricky because this fingering is different. 5, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 5. Now here's the crucial difference. 2, 1. At least that's what I do. 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, and you have a ninth. That's tricky there. 9 notes and a very quick ending of those 9 notes at the very tail end of the measure. This isn't hard because it's not 9 notes, but it's coming back here. Here it comes. Thumb, 2. You have a 6th outline and then a drop to a 9th. Then you roll back in to 5th and a 4th with the octave on the outside. Okay, now I'm starting to get some insight into this. And I get my insights when I watch my videos of myself back and I see things that don't look right. And I see them as physical barriers to what I want to do musically. You know, because the physical part of this piece is very important. I mean, you could be as musical as you want to be, but if you can't figure out a certain either rotation or a certain curve of your hand through these left-hand notes, you can't do the musical things you want to do. So I got some insights. First of all, I'm going to play with my metronome. And I'm going to go right to those tricky measures that I find tricky. And that's, again, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There's a few more little places in it, too, that are very tricky. Also, the reason those measures are hard is because what's the right hand doing at the same time doesn't make your life any easier. And let me see if I can set a slow metronome and do some rhythms. I want to do a dotted A16th rhythm. This. I'm big on rhythms. Okay, so if I do dotted A16th rhythm, I'd be doing this. And let me go to the measure before the tricky one. That would be measure 6. Now, what I've noticed, and I was watching my video, it's not that I believe in an arched hand, but I was thinking that I need a more relaxed curve to my hand to do this. If I start, you know, having some notes sort of stretching out too much and others pulling my hand in, I'm not going to get, at least for this, I'm not going to get what I want. So I've been kind of experimenting with doing more of a curve of my hand, and I'm going to do it slower when I do it straight. When I do it straight, I'm going to do it slower because I don't want to fill that dotted 16th in. So if I do this, if I just let my hand go into a very relaxed curve and I don't alter it, is where biofeedback between yourself and yourself comes in. I noticed that when I'm not just thinking 2 to 5, but I'm thinking of how relaxed my hand is going to be when it comes back up from the low note into a broken chord. I'm thinking already of a group of notes. I think you can get too hung up on the 2 to the 5, and then you start constricting your hand. So you have to think of when you blocked it, and when I blocked it, I did things like this to that. You can see that I wanted to know ahead of time that I was going to roll back into that. That's important. Think ahead, well, not ahead, but open up your hand. Starting to crystallize. Now that's what I mean by good practicing, because if you can do it a few times where it works, you have to say, why did it work? In this case, it's because I'm thinking already of this to this, of this, but my hand has to be very relaxed into that. So I don't think I better get that deep, but I think of rolling into that, roll into that, already this is getting better. So now I make a little mental note to myself that that's what I'm doing, and thinking of the curve of the blocks. The blocks are rolling in. If you just think of the 2 to the 5, then you start to constrict a little bit, and you're not ready to just continuously roll in. The other insight I have into these tricky measures is to stay close to the keys. Besides keeping the curve, the kind of gentle curve, is not to raise fingers up. You have to stay very close, like a caterpillar, against the keys. This is the biggest insight I've had tonight. I must say, that's called self-learning. You have to just learn yourself. You have to do a lot of back and forth between yourself and yourself. And what makes this tricky in those measures, and I would probably practice these measures quite a bit, is this, this, that. And that's going on while that other jump is going on. So you have to be very relaxed in both hands. Time I've gotten accuracy on this, so I hope I share it with others. That the blocking will help. The blocking, I think more than rhythms, the blocking will help this. Now, what I'm going to do now is up my metronome a little and do again the left hand. I think gradual upping of the metronome is good for this particularly. I must say I'm not a big one on the metronome, but for this, again, I'm gonna think again of the block from here to here, from here, open up my hand to here. The 2 is naturally go over the octave to the 9th, but it takes with it what's coming next. So you have to keep your hands open. There it is. Trick is now the left, the right hand, adding that in and not getting all tight. You can't shove it